1. The Man in the Closet. Liam was 7 when the nightmares began. It started small, subtle, a restless twist here, a quiet whimper there. His mother, Laura, would check on him each night, brushing back his sweaty hair and whispering that everything was fine. But she couldn't shake the feeling that something wasn't right. Liam would lay awake for hours, eyes wide in the darkness, staring unblinking at the closet door. Then the drawings appeared. The first was simple, a stick figure standing next to a square that Liam said was the closet. But each day the figure changed. It grew taller, its limbs stretching to the floor, the face blurred into empty space. The arms, once normal, hung down like limp ropes. The worst part? Liam drew them obsessively, sometimes 5 or 6 a day, always in shades of black and gray. His other crayons sat untouched in their box. "Why so many pictures of the same man, honey?" Laura asked gently one morning. "He wants me to," Liam replied softly, not meeting her eyes. "If I stop, he gets mad." "Who gets mad?" "The man in the closet." At first, Laura and her husband Jason thought this was simple childhood imagination. Maybe the stress of moving into the old house, maybe TV. But the drawings grew stranger. The man's limbs became jagged, sharp. Sometimes his fingers reached out of the closet, snaking toward Liam's bed. Symbols began appearing, odd spirals, circles broken with slashes, odd letters that no one recognized. Jason, annoyed, tried to reason with Liam, opened the closet, banged on the walls, shook the clothes. "See? Empty, just junk and shirts." But Liam stood frozen by the door, shaking his head. He's hiding, waiting for the dark. One night, the house's old wooden floor creaked long after bedtime. Laura, half asleep, thought it was the settling of the house, until she heard Liam whispering, "Quiet, software." When she crept to his room and peeked inside, she froze. Liam sat up in bed, eyes glassy, staring at the open closet. His mouth moved, whispering some foreign words, low, guttural, like growling from deep underwater. The next morning, Laura found new drawings stuffed under Liam's pillow. The man was standing closer to the bed now. His featureless face was inches from Liam's head. Worried, they set up a camera. What the footage showed chilled them to their bones. At exactly 3:17 a.m., the closet door, latched tightly shut before bed, creaked open on its own. Slowly, quietly, for almost 30 minutes, nothing happened, until Liam sat upright, eyes dead and blank. He turned his head slowly to the closet, smiling faintly, whispering more of the strange language. Then something shifted in the darkness of the closet. A faint shape, tall, spindly, leaned out, its outline disturbingly long, its head nearly brushing the ceiling. And then it retreated back into the shadows as the door shut on its own. The final drawing Liam made before they fled the house was the worst. It showed Liam standing, hand in hand, with the faceless man, both smiling. Above them were the words, "Going to my new home," in the dark. They moved out that week. No one has stayed in the house since. The closet door, neighbors say, still opens by itself at night. 2. My last family, Sophie, was always the perfect child. Calm, polite, never the tantrum-throwing kind. Mark and Rachel adored her. After 5 painful years waiting to adopt, she was a blessing. But as they would soon learn, some blessings come wrapped in darkness. It started with the drawings. One Friday afternoon, Sophie proudly brought home her latest picture. Her teacher, pale and shaking, called Mark before they could even pick her up. You should see this," she whispered. The drawing showed a house engulfed in flames. Red and black crayon angrily slashed across the paper. Stick figures lay scattered outside, some twisted, some marked with X's. Sophie had scribbled above it in shaky, hard-pressed letters, "My last family." When Rachel gently asked what it meant, Sophie said simply, "That was my family before. They burned. I needed a new one. Now I have you." Mark and Rachel froze. Sophie had been only 2 years old when her birth parents died in a house fire, an event they never discussed. No one ever told her the detail, but the drawing had the unmistakable outline of her old house, the bay window, the crooked fence, the oak tree in the yard, and the attic rope ladder. That small detail twisted Mark's gut. It was never made public. Sophie's father had tried to lower her out the window with a rope ladder. The ladder broke. Investigators found it in the rubble. She shouldn't have remembered, but it didn't stop there. For days after, Sophie drew the fire again and again. Each time, new shadowy figures appeared, watching from the tree line, creeping closer. When asked, she whispered, They're looking for me. I wasn't supposed to leave. At night, she woke crying. They're outside. They want me back. Mark sat up one night when he smelled faint smoke. No fire, no source. Only Sophie sitting in her bed, awake, staring at the dark corner. They're here, she said softly. In the morning, another drawing lay on the floor. Sophie standing beside the dark figures, hand in hand. Above them, soon we'll be together again. The handwriting was wrong, not childish, neat, perfect. Rachel checked old papers from the adoption agency, notes from Sophie's birth mother. It was identical. The family fled weeks later. The house still smells faintly of burned wood. The new owners reported whispers in the walls, laughter in empty rooms, drawings appearing under the bed, and at night, the smell of smoke. 3. The friend. Under the floor, David had always been imaginative, but after they moved into the old house on Elm Street, his stories took a strange turn. Charlie says the floor creaks when he moves. He said casually at dinner, "Who's Charlie, sweetheart?" "The boy who lives under my floor. He plays with me when I sleep." Harmless imagination, they thought. Then came the tapping. At night, soft, measured knocks under David's bed. The dog refused to enter the room. The cat hissed at the floorboards. The first drawing sent chills down his mother's spine. Their house, drawn in bright crayon, sat on green grass under a yellow sun. But beneath the house, deep underground, was a strange, pale figure with hollow black eyes and an impossibly wide mouth. "My friend Charlie," David wrote. "Why does Charlie live under the floor?" his father asked. "Because he couldn't get out last time." The smell came next. Faint rot, mildew, as if something wet and dead lay under the boards. Contractors came to investigate the warped floor. They found a sealed crawl space, bricked up, hidden from view. When they broke it open, the stench hit like a punch. Inside were the remains of a small child, long decayed, forgotten. Police confirmed the worst. 60 years ago, a boy named Charles Whitmore vanished here. No one ever found him. Rumors said an uncle locked him in the crawl space to punish him, but forgot him there when he left town. David stared at the old photo of Charles. "That's my friend Charlie," he smiled. The nightmares worsened. David woke screaming, begging Charlie to stop. He said Charlie wanted him to stay forever, to play under the floor like him. One morning, David was gone, his bed undisturbed, window locked, but on his desk sat one last drawing. David and Charlie, both smiling, hand in hand, standing under the house, written beneath it in perfect cursive. "Thank you for letting me out. My turn to play." No one has lived in that house since. But at night, neighbors hear faint scratching and sometimes childish laughter from under the floor. The woman in the window. Emily was only 6 when she started drawing strange pictures at school. Her parents first noticed when she brought home a picture of their house. It looked normal, blue roof, yellow door, tall maple tree in the yard. But in every window, every single window, was the same thing. A face, pale, hollow-eyed, black holes where the eyes should have been, long hair falling across its cheeks. In some windows, it smiled. In others, it pressed both hands against the glass, as if trying to push through. "Who's that, Emily?" her father asked, trying to sound light-hearted. "The woman in the window," she said matter-of-factly. "She watches us every night." Chills ran down his spine. They assumed she was imagining things, until they noticed Emily staring at her bedroom window before bedtime. "She waves to me when the lights go off," Emily whispered. "She wants to come in." The next day, Emily brought home a new drawing, this one of her own bedroom. She lay in bed, covers up to her chin, and by the window, the pale woman, now inside the room. Her mother gasped. The woman's eyes, still hollow, bottomless pits, seemed to drip dark crayon tears. Above the drawing, Emily had written in rough letters, "She says soon, I'll sleep forever." The fear grew worse when they found the old newspaper clippings. Their house, they discovered, once belonged to a woman named Eleanor Gray. 30 years ago, she had been found dead in the upstairs bedroom, alone, staring out the window toward the street, her face twisted in horror. Some said she jumped. Others whispered that something drove her mad. Emily drew her again the next day. This time, Emily was gone from the picture. The woman stood alone in her room, holding a tiny figure by the hand. When her mother asked where she was in the picture, Emily shrugged. She said, "I'll go with her soon, then I can watch the windows too." That night, they moved Emily into their room. At 3 a.m., they heard tapping on the bedroom window. 3 soft taps, then silence. And on the fogged glass outside, a child's small handprint. Emily was fast asleep. 5. The Black Dog. Tommy had always been a quiet boy, but after his grandfather died, he changed. He stopped playing outside, stopped laughing. He spent hours alone in his room, drawing feverishly. His mother noticed the papers piling up, dozens of them, all with the same terrible image, a huge black dog. It stood in the shadows, at the edge of the yard, behind the trees, beside the house, always watching. Its eyes 2 glowing red dots, its fur rough and wild, drawn with angry black crayon strokes that tore the paper. "Who is this, Tommy?" she asked. "The dog that follows me now," he whispered. "It's waiting." Waiting for what? For someone to die again. Chills ran down her spine. At first, they thought it was just grief. But then the accident started. Their neighbor across the street, an elderly man, fell down the stairs and broke his neck. When the police arrived, Tommy peeked out the window and smiled. "The dog was sitting on his porch last night," he said. A week later, their postman died of a sudden heart attack. Tommy handed his mother a new drawing that morning, this time the black dog sitting beside a mailbox. She threw the picture away, terrified, but the worst came last. One morning, Tommy sat quietly at the table, scribbling a final picture. His mother leaned over his shoulder. This one showed their house, but the dog was sitting on their porch now, its mouth wide, sharp teeth bared. Behind it, stick figures lay on the ground. Her and Tommy crossed out in thick black crayon. Her heart stopped. "Why did you draw this, Tommy?" The boy didn't look up. "Because it's coming for us now." That night, the smell of wet fur filled the house. Footsteps padded softly across the attic, and in the dark hallway, faint growling echoed from the shadow. The black dog was waiting.